Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Derp Your Hooves. So today we are in the Aeroplane Heaven Mitsubishi Zero. This has been about for about 2 to 3 weeks now. I really like it. It's only about 25 US dollars. I don't know what that translates into your currency, wherever you might be in the world. One of my favorite World War II airplanes. I do like the Spitfire, I like the Mustang, I like the Corsair, but this is definitely one of my favorite airplanes. So let's go ahead and just take a quick spin around the outside and take a look at the livery. For the most part, this is completely, for the most part, Aeroplane Heaven's livery. I made a couple of changes. I'll let you see if you can figure it out. I'm not giving it away. But, I mean, they really did a good job on the texturing of this aircraft. I'm pretty impressed. So, with all of that said, let's go ahead and let's hop in this bad boy. Alright, so, in the cockpit, we've got a couple things, and I'm going to go over them really quick. If you ever want to open the canopy, you have your canopy lock and your canopy handle. And on your instrument panel, we have some pretty important pieces of information here. We have our, our turn indicator here. We have our slip indicator. And this is also your turn indicator. And you have your air-to-fuel mixture gauge. You have your navigation gauge. I don't know how that works, just to be honest with you. You have your electronic fuel pump. You have your magnetos, you have my tooltips turned on, you have a clock, you have your airspeed indicator, your altimeter, you have your, your angle of attack, pitch up, pitch down, vertical speed gauge, you have your engine cylinder temperature gauge, and that's going to be used in conjunction with the oil radiator flap and the engine cowl flaps, because it is going to get hot as you fly. And then we have, I don't know what, and again, I don't know what. They're all in Japanese, so I say read the manual. But we got the basics down. You also have your air-to-fuel mixture, your throttle, your propeller, and then hiding down here is the auto mixture level. I was going to say automatic mixture, but it's the same thing. Now, I'm not so sure how much the automatic mixture is true to life, but let's go ahead and let's just do some electrical panel stuff here on the lower left-hand side, which should be that button. Okay, so here's your electrical panel. Let's just kind of zoom in. And we'll just do it with our wonky old mouse that's not cooperating. So again, everything's all in Japanese, so good luck to you. But read the manual and it's all lined out. Now, I don't know if this plane ever had navigation lights or recognition lights, but it definitely doesn't have a landing light or a taxi light. So if you're going to be flying it at night, well, good luck to you. It was a World War II aircraft, and I don't think that they thought that fighters and fighter bombers really should have landing lights. I don't know why, but it doesn't have them. So you got some pretty important switches here, though. Your panel lights work. Your floodlight works. There is no rheostat, which is there's no dimmer switch. So if you do night flying, the lights are on and off. And you got your battery, your alternator, those are on. We got our avionics master, which is on already. It wasn't on before. Okay. And then you have your pitot heat, which is on. Those are all very important. And if I zoom out, I get some more gauges on the left. I get my fuel tank selectors for the wing tank valve, fuselage tank valve, and the main fuel selector. I've got my fuel lights here. I've got my pitch trim. Again, I've got my fuel pump switch, your electric fuel pump switch. We're not going to have it on right now. You've got your oxygen. And if we swing on over to the right, pony. Your pony right. Let's just do it that way. Seems to be better when you have saved keys, You've got some very cool switches down here. So you've got this. You've got this crash after PC switch. Well, that actually crashed out my PC, reset after crash, and then turns off the receptacle, which we're just going to leave on for right now, and you're going to see all the trails. So we have all of this, but let's go ahead and let's open the canopy. And in order to open the canopy, this is very tricky. Canopy lock and the canopy handle. Now you see, it only slides as far back as you can slide it, and when your mouse is disobeying you. See, the scroll wheel doesn't like this. You have to slide it the whole way back. So it's really not something that you can do in a normal flight. You can do it on the ground or you can do it in the air, but you might have some problems controlling the aircraft. We're going to fly with it up. Alright. So, one thing I want to do is I just want to put an external fuel tank on there. And it gives you either a choice of a bomb, which we're not going to do, or the fuel tank. So I'm just going to add the fuel tank. I like the way it looks. And we've got plenty of fuel for our flight. And let's go to our external view. And there's our fuel tank. Now, you can replace the fuel tank with a bomb. You can't have both. It even says so in the manual, so you can configure it however you like. We're just going to use the fuel tank. It gives you some extra range, and I like how it looks. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get ready to derp our hooves on this flight. So, having constant problems with the parking brake. I'm going to reset my trim. That's what gave me problems on my last flight. So you see she rolls out. Notch of flaps. Now she is a tail dragger. So you have a tail wheel lock and it's not like a tricycle gear plane. The manual says you don't need a whole bunch of fuel to take off or a whole bunch of throttle to take off. But we are going to need some right rudder. And let's get her off the ground. There we go. Bad takeoff, but she's up. Gears up. Flaps up. We don't need them anymore. And let's get going to Okinawa. Again, I'm not the greatest fixed-wing flyer, and I've flown this a few times. It's actually a really good aircraft. I really like it. I really, really like it. So here we go. Flying on along. And so cut back on the mixture a little bit. And maybe cut back on the propeller speed just a little bit. And you can see that my temperature's already gone up. So what I should do is I should open the oil cooler. So I'm going to reach over here, grab my mouse, and we're going to do oil cooler open. Now there's not any animations for the oil cooler, but there are for the cowl flaps. And you can see that in the external view. Like right now, well, that's actually not the best view. A little too close. There we go. So the cowl flaps are closed, but the oil cooler, remember, everything's backwards when you're facing the front of it, Pony. The oil cooler is in the nose, or it's in the cowl. And I can't see if there's animation to open and close it. I just know that it's there. And so here we go. Here's the external view of it. And if I want to bring my cowl flaps out, see, it looks like they're already open. Which is pretty weird. Seeing as how I didn't open them. So let's go ahead and let's... Oh, we did open the cowl flaps. I want to do the oil radiator flap. Well, that's my bad, you know, right? So, with all of that, you can see the cowl flaps are open. And you might want them a little bit to cool the engine down. It is a radial engine. And you don't want to overheat it in flight. So, welcome to Bumbling and Fumbling with Pony in a brand new airplane. Now, I haven't flown this a whole bunch. But I can tell you it's a whole world of fun. And let's just kind of see where we're at here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a really quick roll. So we're going to gain some altitude and go up. And you're going to see that your speed's going to drop. But we're at about 6,000 feet now. So, if I level her out, watch my vertical speed. There we go. Bring her down so I get some more airspeed. Because right now we're at about 160 knots, and she doesn't like to do loops at 160. It's usually closer to 200 knots. So let's try a loop, shall we? And she may try and stall on me, or go into a spin, but there's a basic loop, and there's where we took off from, and we can do a roll, barrel roll, and she rolls. Alright, so where are we going? We are going to Okinawa, which is that island over there. Now I can, if it helps, I can actually close the canopy in the cockpit and see if that helps reduce our noise. Whoa, pony. And that's why I said, it's not easy to do this in flight. I think I just proved my point. So, for the most part, it's either canopy open or closed. But you get some noise reduction with the canopy closed. And if Pony just set up his views better, then, yeah, well. So, she's not incredibly friendly when you're messing around with that sliding canopy. So, again, we're going to Okinawa. And some fun facts about this plane are actually going to be that in the beginning of World War II, this really was one of the better aircraft. It really was. Alright, so we're going to do this old school here. And we're just going to line ourselves up with the Okinawa airport. And we're going to watch our speed. So, this was one of the best Japanese fighter aircraft of World War II in the 1940s. The U.S. had to catch up to it because, again, this was one of the main planes used by the Japanese in Pearl Harbor, and Pearl Harbor was a surprise attack. And, well, we didn't really even have a chance to get planes off the ground and off the carriers. But later on, when we fought the Japanese, when the United States fought the Japanese in World War II over the Pacific, they were losing to the Zero. And it wasn't just because of the kamikazes, it's that they were just outright losing to the Zero. It was more maneuverable, it was lighter weight, and again, they built like the Corsair and the Hellcat, which were game changers. And of course, the Mustang, but the Mustang was more Air Force. And the P-51D Mustang just dominated the sky in World War II for fighters. Between Allied and Axis, and, well, Japan was part of the Axis with Germany and Italy, and it was on the Allied. It was It was Russia, China. Who else was it? Australia, England, France, and so on. So, boy, how things have changed since then. And, well, Pony wasn't born at that point, so he really doesn't have much to say about it, other than the stuff that he heard from grandparents and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring her in here to Okinawa, and we're going to do it carefully again. This is what, the fourth time I've said that? A little distracted today, sorry about that. I'm really just trying to enjoy my flight, set my trim, and just go ahead and fly. And actually it seems to me that Pony is not going to Okinawa today. But we'll see how that goes in a minute. So, again, I really love this aircraft. I'm really not happy about how some of this has been working out for me today with some of my glitches, but, that's okay. We're just having some technical difficulties. Something like my little nav maps crashed out because the sim crashed out, and whatever, whatever, whoever, Pony ever. But for some reason, those two aren't syncing up today. So we're going to land wherever here is, which is over there, which, by the way, is Okinawa. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. When it comes to bugs, I thought I fixed. So, we are going to land at Okinawa. We're going to do it manually, without the help of little nav map or any kind of navigational aid. And if there was crazy, like, angled flying, that was me playing with little nav map in the background. And let's go ahead and do a barrel roll. Slow down with some flaps so that we don't crash. And you know what? For fun, why don't we zoom out and do a split S? And turn it into a loop. And now it turns into a stall. This was one of the fun things about this airplane in World War II, I guess, is that it was so acrobatic, but it helps when you learn how to fly it. So that's not Okinawa. Okinawa's off on our left. And if we were in actual combat, well, look at all the altitude we just dropped. Isn't that great? We just dropped by about 2,000 feet. We should do that more often. So, Okinawa, after that little bit of craziness, should be off behind us. And that's where we want to get to. So, we're going to go on over there. And we're going to land at the International Airport over there, which has got add-on scenery. And go ahead and just land this thing. Because, well, it's been an interesting few flights in this plane. On the positive, it really is a very cool plane. Very much fun to fly. I think it's worth every penny, which was not much. I mean, you can get like, I don't know, gallon of milk and some eggs for $25 nowadays. Or maybe some bread. You know, some peanut butter. That's about it. But, or you can get this plane, but you got to eat too. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna come on in here, and we're gonna try not to stall her out. But that also means that we have to slow down a little bit, which is going to mean adjusting our trim, lowering some flaps, setting our gears, which if we were traveling at like 200 knots, the gears aren't going to lower, so we're not anywhere near gear speed. Oh, we are. I just didn't bump the button. Okay, pony. So we got 2 notches of flaps out. Natches? Yeah, they're natches of flaps. And we're just going to go ahead and land here. Now remember, this being a tail dragger, it's not like a tricycle gear plane like the King Air or the Cessna 172 or let's think of some other ones. What else would there be? The Beechcraft Bonanza. There's another tricycle gear plane. Some of the Pipers are tricycle gear planes. This again is a tail gear plane. Let's actually bring the flaps up just a notch. We don't need to be going that slow. 80 knots, about 85, 90 knots is not what this plane likes. It starts getting a little stally at that speed. So, Pony's not that great with tricycle gear planes, but I've been trying, and you can actually crash this really easy if you don't take care. So let's hope that Panny? I don't know who Panny is. I know who Pony is. But let's hope that Pony here doesn't crash his brand new Zero. Alright. So, you know, that's about 130 knots. I know it says 12, but trust me, it's adjusted. Ground speed's about 120 knots. According to a little nav map, but that could also be like off. Because right now it's not even working. So here we come in for our landing. And I'm going to adjust my pitch. Because I don't want to nose over. Now I am a little bummed because there were some Japanese aircraft carrier packs that you could get freeware. Oh, Sim is skipping to top it off. There were some of those, because this was also a carrier-based plane, but they're no longer available on flightsim.to, and even though I have the older files, I don't know, one of the Microsoft 2020 updates killed all kinds of freeware, and people are like, I'm just done. So here we come for our landing on an airstrip over here in Okinawa, and hopefully we don't bounce. Usually I bounce. I mean, you'd figure with all the helicopter practice, this fixed wing stuff would be a piece of cake, but it's not. Alright, I know I'm not straight, but we're getting straighter, and she's fighting me a little bit. Pardon me. Okay. Wow. Must be a crosswind or something. Okay. Bad landing. Bad landing. But as long as we land. Come on, pony. And... Come on, pony. Any day now. Worst landing ever. Yep, pretty bad. Alright. And this is why it's important to toggle something for your tailwheel gear. Because if you don't, the plane just goes wherever it wants to go, and we're going to do some fast and furious Tokyo drift stuff here. Because we were too fast coming in. So, that was a horrible landing. Oh, we set the brakes. Yeah, very bad landing there for Pony. But let's go ahead and taxi to parking and call it a day. So you can Tokyo drift this thing, just so you know. I just Tokyo drifted it. But I do find that it's a great plane. It's a great aircraft. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning how to fly it. And learning how to drift with it. I see an investment in peripherals for Pony to get rid of some of these bad rudder pedals. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and taxi on over here. And set her up and call her a day. In the last slot. So at least I didn't bounce. I just drifted. Which I didn't think was possible, but I did it. And we're not totally on the taxi line. Parking brake. Tail wheel lock. That was fun. And shut the fuel off first. Magneto second. Close the oil cooler and the engine cowl. Go down to the electrical. Come on, electrical. And we go pit off. Avionics master, alternator, battery. Alright. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to open the canopy. Oh, and there's one thing I didn't show you. It's right here, hiding down here underneath the trim wheel. Pilot removal. So the pilot is now not going to be able to be seen once we open the canopy. So let's go ahead and open the canopy. And again, remember what I had to do the first time and what I tried to do in flight. Don't do that in flight. That's what happens. That's why you do this on the ground. Open the canopy so Pony can leave the airplane. And there we have it. There she is. Not on the taxi line, but that's because I was practicing my drifting. Mitsubishi Zero by Aeroplane Heaven. Wonderful aircraft. Only $25. If you guys are looking for something a little different, an old World War II plane to fly, it's great. In the user manual for it, they strongly recommend using it in 2020, even though you can use it in 2024. Read the manual. I'm not going to take a chance flying it in 2024 if it has problems in 2024. But, you know, 2024 is this ongoing thing like 2020 was. So, enough about that. Loving this aircraft. If you like it, go ahead, pick it up. And I wanted to say, I know it's been a while since I last did any videos, but I had to do a video when this came out. Been taking care of some things in my personal life, and I appreciate all you guys that have been hanging on, waiting for me to do my next video. There are more to come. I have some things planned out. and we'll see how things go as things progress in my life right now. Just got some issues that need to be taken care of. So, as always, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. Thank you, every pony. Thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the skies.